Sure.
Any one of those works.
Any one of
President.
those. Yeah. Pretty much throw anything on that. I said my dream job is to be the stock girl. I really want to be the stock girl. Yes.
Really?
Love to just walk into my office, put some things away.
That's nice.
No one knows who I am.
No responsibility.
No responsibility.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our favorite part of the week. It's time to listen to Sounds of Health, where we share the stories, people, and resources that help others to improve their physical, emotional, and financial well-being. I'm your host, Dave McNiven, and today I'm excited to welcome our guest, Rebecca Lavaway. Rebecca is the owner and founder of the Performance Lab, an all-inclusive model that brings all the latest technologies for pain relief, wellness, and mobility together under one roof. They specialize in assessing our limitations and creating a custom treatment approach to restore our well-being. Rebecca, great to have you here today. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. This is going to be a lot of fun. We are streaming on Facebook Live, mostly because our producer, Jason, has gotten addicted to doing so. So we just had a full day out there at Hamden Fest this weekend, and he wanted to continue to do that. So thank you for saying yes to that.
Oh, absolutely.
Really appreciate it. So you and I got to know each other through the Entrepreneurs Organization, through the Accelerator Program. And it was incredible to have you be the first graduate of our group.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It was great. I loved being part of EO, and I think you probably feel very similar to that.
Yeah, probably one of the best things I did as a business owner.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about that too. Before we get started with that though, last week I had a friend come in and interview me because we had a last minute cancellation. Mm-hmm. And I loved one of the questions he asked to get started. And that was, what's making you happiest these days?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I mean, there's a few things that really genuinely make me happy. One is summer. I don't know about you guys, but winter gets me hard. I say all the time, I think I was meant to be born on an island somewhere. So summer days, sunshine feels great. I've got an awesome family. My husband of almost 13 years is crushing it with like life and kids. And we have 3 amazing boys.
That's great.
My oldest is 12, going into 7th grade. My middle man is 10, just graduating elementary school. And the little guy is 8. And so the combination of all of that and adding like some wins with the business and just new growth and development, I think all of it just makes me happy.
Yeah. So you've got a lot that's making you happy.
Yeah. You know what? Somebody actually once said to me that I really, really loved is like, when you look at your long-term goal and like why you're doing this, like, well, what is your end game? And I heard, like to be happy, right? Everyone just wants to be happy. And they say, try to find a little bit of that in every single day. And I think if you do that, you can find a lot of things to be grateful for.
Yeah, I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
So I am a physical therapist by trade, and graduated college and, did what everyone told me to do and got a 401k and a real job.
Right.
And, a couple of years in, I hated it. I just really didn't enjoy what I did. I felt like the system was broken, worked with some amazing physical therapists. I just felt the system was broken. I just had to see a lot of people at once. And I just didn't feel like I was able to give them the quality of care that I was trained to give them. And, there's restrictions with being able to do preventative care and maintenance treatments and things that are super important for as we age and as we grow and as we stay active. So about 6 years ago, I decided to give it a shot and try to open my own business with just the premise of like doing better and giving quality hands-on care. Mm-hmm. And I've been so lucky. It's grown into like something that's really turned into, we have 2 offices now. We're in the process of opening our 3rd. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, people seem to be happy and like what we're bringing to the table.
It sounds like 6 years to be going on a 3rd office already. That's incredible.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So are you from the area originally?
I grew up in Waterbury. Went to Waterbury Public Schools, went to UConn for college. And now I live in Prospect with my husband, which is where he grew up and our kids. So,
Gotcha. So pretty local.
Yeah, very local. Prospect is like the smallest town in Connecticut, I think.
Yeah, gotcha. Now, what was that transition for you to open your business? I know for me, like that was probably something that kept me up at night for a couple of weeks when I was considering it. It was a very scary premise to just, okay, I'm going to walk away from these benefits and from this stability, and I'm going to take a chance on myself. What was that like for you?
You know what, Dave? That's a good, everyone laughs, but I don't think I thought it through. If I had the time to, I don't know if I would have actually done it. I just was like, I'm going to open my own business and figured I can do this and didn't think of all the things that could have gone wrong.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough as a physical therapist. My degree allows me to have some flexibility. So I took a job with home care, and that allowed me to kind of see my clients in the morning and in the evenings before and after work for the more active crowd.
Yeah.
And home care clients who have to be, in order to qualify for that, have to be homebound.
Right.
They didn't care if I came at 11:30 on a Tuesday. So I was able to gradually transition into owning a business full time as opposed to jumping all in, because I did carry the benefits and, we helped to support our household from a financial perspective. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah, it was a nice lean in.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's hard, especially when you have kids, right? To make that jump.
Yeah,
so
my kids were little too. When I look back at it, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Right, yeah, that's amazing. But you were able to kind of keep some semblance of a career there and get started with this. How did you get started with this?
I rented a garage.
You did?
I rented a little tiny garage. Yes.
Okay.
It was right next to a gym that I'd been going to. And luckily, with Prospect being such a small town, I already had a few connections and just opened it up and tried to show people what I knew how to do. And I always say, they say entrepreneurship and owning a business is a little bit of luck and a lot of bit of hard work. I attribute my little bit of luck to walking next door to the gym that I was, my garage is still currently next to.
Yeah.
And seeing this guy getting his calves rolled out by the trainer who I'm good friends with, and we'll trash talk all the time about this. And I walked up to this guy and I said, when you're ready to actually have that feel better, you come next door and see me.
Wow.
And he walks next door and says, you can fix this? I said, yep. And I did it. He stands up. He goes, can you do that again on my back? I said, yeah. Lays down, fixes that, stands up and goes, all right, how much do I owe you? And I was like, oh, I'm not sure, and got all nervous. And he happens to be a huge business owner and looked at me and said, okay, you're going to fix me and I'm going to help you run a business.
Wow.
Yeah. And had taken me under his wing and every quarter met with him to be able to kind of brainstorm and come up with ideas. So he was my EO before EO.
That's amazing.
It was a great...
Talk about the right place at the right time.
Yeah. And having the guts to just put yourself out there.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So he got involved right away and helped you to kind of develop the business plan?
Yes, that's the kind way to say it. He really trash talked me hard until I...
Okay. So he was tough guy?
He was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. He's successful. And he was like, if you want to be successful, try this, do this. And never told me how, but gave me strategies and things that helped him and said, read this book, try this.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had that right when I was getting started. I was very lucky too to just have certain people that were around me and supporting me and all of those things. But yeah, that's amazing to have that person to guide you. Yeah,
that, like you said, that support. It's when you're starting, it's critical because I don't know how to. I still joke I don't know how to run a business.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that was missing for me too. Is I never went to business school. I didn't know what I was doing when it came to running a business and learn the hard way for a lot of things.
Yeah,
so.
I call it throwing spaghetti at a wall. I'm still doing it. See what sticks.
Exactly.
A lot of uncooked spaghetti.
For sure. Yeah. But that's important.
It is.
You got to throw everything at the wall, and
I happen to marry a teacher, and he's always, you know what they say, the first step to success is failure. And I was like, I've taken a lot of first steps to success.
I talk about that all the time. You fail every day. The key is to fail fast.
Fail fast.
Right? And learn from it.
Learn from it. Yeah.
Okay. So you get started with this business. What did you have in your mind what was going to be unique about the services you were providing? Or did you just say, okay, I know what I'm doing. Let me start with these things?
I did not in the moment know what made me unique. I just knew that I could be a good physical therapist had I been given the time and the skills to do it, like the tools, I guess, to do it. In my old job, I had to treat 3, 4 people at once and bouncing back and forth.
Right.
And so when someone came in, I could be honest and say that they didn't get the best of me because 4 other people were also trying to get the best of me.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I'd be like, oh, hop on that. I would, put people on heat because it was a time killer, or electrical stim and cryo at the end because, well, I needed to make room for 5 minutes of hands-on with my next client coming through the door.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so I realized that so much of that wasn't what was getting people better, but I had gone on and done a lot of continuing ed from a manual therapy standpoint. And for me personally, I found that people can exercise anywhere and will if you give them the skills to do it.
Yeah.
And there's so many amazing trainers out there and things that like people that are very knowledgeable in the exercise piece. But for me personally, that hands-on component, using my hands to create change, and the dry needling, which is to me my favorite thing in the world.
Really?
I love it. And being able to do that people would stand up and they would get that wow factor because they hadn't had that from any other physical therapist.
Right.
Or because traditional physical therapy, they would get a similar model.
Sure.
So when I would be able to accomplish that wow factor, and in the beginning, I didn't really have time constraints. It wasn't like if I saw somebody that needed an hour, I just work with them for an hour. I just wanted to make them feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was the freedom of time that really opened that world up for you.
Yes.
Like you could actually affect this person in a positive way because you have the time to devote to them.
Exactly. Which has leaned into what makes us unique is we now guarantee you walk out feeling better than when you walked in, or your visit's on us.
It's a guarantee.
It's a guarantee, not a cure.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be 100% better, but I can guarantee you're going to walk out feeling better than when you walked in.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how do you take what you had when you first started and you didn't have any sort of time constraints? I'm guessing that that's not the case any longer.
It is not.
Because to run a successful business, there has to be some parameters, right?
Yes.
You can't just have the person be there for the day.
Yes.
So how do you take what you learned and got from that into the practice now?
So we offer 30, 45, or 60-minute sessions. And we make our recommendation, but like I would look at you and say, Dave, listen, money's no object. You have no time limits. Your world is your ideal world. This is what you will do to get to your goal. Then you're going to look at me and say back, I run a business. I have a weekly podcast. I can't stay here for 60 minutes, but what can you do for me in 30? And then we've kind of created this model that allows you and us to play into how we can get you to hit your goals.
That's interesting. So you're customizing the plan individually.
Everything is customized.
For every person. So
we do dry needling, but we have all the recovery tools from Normatex to Venoms to cryotherapies to saunas. And you can go to your gym and sit in compression boots and hop in a sauna. So people are like, well, why should I come and do that here?
Yeah.
And the difference that we found is that customization. So you have a doctorate level clinician looking at you and saying, Dave, you have poor mobility. And in order to improve your mobility, the best way to stretch is if your tissues are warm. They respond better to exercise and stretch when they're warmed up. So come here, sit in the sauna for 20 minutes. You're going to detox. You're going to decrease inflammation. You're going to then come out and now you're going to stretch and you're going to get that much more from your mobility.
Interesting.
Or maybe it's before you stretch, you come see us and we do some dry needling to untie those. I say it's like untying a double knot in your shoe.
Yeah.
Tight muscles are built with knots and all these junk that's kind of built up in them.
Right.
And when you're stretching tight muscles, it's like just pulling on a double knot. It's just getting tighter and tighter. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, I stretch all the time. I never get any looser. And you're smiling because I'm sure you've experienced that too.
Yeah.
Who hasn't? Yeah. So the dry needling, we go in with this little tiny needle. We make the muscle contract. That contraction doesn't cure anything. It just essentially unties that double knot in the shoe. Oh, wow. And then it makes everything else that we do and you do more effective. You combine that with whether it be sauna, compression, cryo, specific prescribed stretches, specific prescribed exercises that are ideal for you. That guarantee to be able to create change is now a little bit easier because I know what your body needs to get you from point A to point B.
Right. So are your clients going home with homework and strategies?
They are. We try to keep the homework to a minimum because no one likes homework. My kids come home with homework. I'm like, oh, we got to do this tonight. No one likes homework. And we find if you give people too much, they don't do it.
For sure.
So I like to look at you and say, if you do these two things the next time I see you, this will be better.
Yeah.
Should be better.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people will say to me, like they'll come in the next time, like, "Do you do your homework?" Like, no. I'm like, that's okay.
Right. Yeah.
Because you still should be able to feel and experience the difference based on what you want to put in and what we can put in.
Right. Gotcha. So I'm going to guess that if they're feeling the results, that obviously that motivates them to do more.
Sometimes. And some people walk in like, "I'd rather do this here."
Yeah.
And
right. And it's
like,
enough.
It's like a good deli sandwich, right? Like you can do it yourself, but it's so much better when someone does it for you.
Oh, it always is.
So much better.
It really is. Yeah.
I don't care where you go, how much of the best deli meat you could buy.
Seriously.
You go to an Italian, you get your Italian combo down the street at your favorite deli.
I used to tell my mom and dad that about their grilled cheeses. I'm like, I know I can do it, but it's so much better when you do it. And now my kids do that to us.
They do. My
so I'm
kids
like,
do.
Man. I'm like, I know what this is.
Yeah. That's the same thing with stretching.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So it does sound to me like it's less a la carte. It's more holistic. You're looking at all of the things that you can provide and designing it for the specific individual.
Yeah, that's a really great way to say it.
Okay.
You can do things a la carte, but we really don't recommend it.
Yeah.
Some people do, and they'll do a session here, a session there. But to really get your goal and what you're trying to get out of it, because most people come to us to either decrease pain, recover from an injury, or the flip side is prevent injuries and stay active.
Right. Gotcha.
You talk about, investing, financially, right? You were saying in the beginning, like the health of everything. We believe in that too. And so many people think when you invest in your future, you're just investing, in your 401k and your financial planning and all that big stuff from a financial perspective. But you could have $1 billion in a bank account, but if you can't move and get out of bed and do the things you love, that $1 billion is collecting dust.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah. So investing in your physical well-being is equally as important, in my opinion, as investing in your financial well-being.
I agree. Yeah, for sure. How about for a person who's kind of budget conscious?
Yeah.
I'm going to assume there's different levels to things.
There are. We say we are cash and out of network providers, but we do that because we can provide a better level of care than what you can get, when you're being seen with 3 other people at the same time.
Right.
So people who are budget conscious, we have payment plans, we have different options. Our 5-pack gets as low as what you can get a massage for.
Okay.
So you can use that. And people will say, I like to go for monthly massages. So it's circling back to that customization and getting out of it what you want to get out of it.
Gotcha.
So I can make a recommendation that says, Dave, for $1 billion, I can send you to the moon.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But if you're like, Beck, what can you do for me for $100? We can say, hey, let's start here.
Okay. That makes a whole lot of sense. Now, I love on your website a couple of things. You call it exceptional care for every body.
Yeah.
All right. I love that.
Thank you.
And also, what is the prime performance method?
So that is actually what we were in the process of trademarking. And that is the method that I created that allows us to be able to guarantee you walk out feeling better than when you walk in. The prime performance method stands for precision release of intramuscular endpoints. And that is a very fancy way of calling muscle knots or trigger points.
Yeah. Our
body has them everywhere. And as we age, they become more and more apparent and they start to affect us more. They cause pain. But if since we're streaming, I guess I can use, I'm a real talk with the hands type of girl.
Right, I do the same thing. Absolutely.
That double knot in the shoe concept, when your muscles, a healthy, normal, ideal muscle is built of a bunch of muscle fibers that run parallel to each other. And when we build up these muscle knots, you get these things called cross links. So you can picture an actual knot within your muscle.
Yeah.
The necessity of our muscles to work optimally requires full communication end to end to be able to actually do what they're meant to do and what they're supposed to do at their optimal state.
Right.
If you have a what I call an endpoint, something blocking that, you're getting reduction in contraction, you're getting decreased flexibility, you're getting like miscellaneous signals from that electrical neuromuscular component. So there's so many pieces that these knots, it's not just like I feel tight. There's actually physiological breakdown that's happening.
Interesting.
And so we've kind of created this method that allows us to release these and open these up pretty effectively. And so we are trademarking the Prime Performance
That's amazing.
Method. Thank you.
When did you start that process?
About a year ago, we started. It sounds silly, but I didn't even realize it was a process.
Yeah.
I just knew I was teaching my staff. I was like, when somebody comes in with this, if you do X, Y, and Z, they will feel better, because I needed my staff to be able to guarantee the same results that I could.
Yeah.
And we just started doing it, and more people were using this and doing it. I was like, oh, this might work.
Yeah. Wow. So how did you go from being a one-person show to then hiring people and actually imbuing them with what you do?
It's not easy.
I'm sure.
That's a great question. I, first of all, have the most amazing team of women. I'm very proud to say we are all women, not by necessarily saying we'd never hire a man. I've just been very lucky to have great, amazing, qualified women who I work with.
Yeah.
And so I took a leap and hired my first physical therapist, who is now my number 2. And she came to me and I was like, do you want a job? She was like, sure. I was like, I don't even know what I could pay you. I joked that I paid her peanuts. Yeah. And she was a new grad and learned and really bought in and saw the value, found the value. And then I was shocked that I was able to fill her schedule and mine. And then we started to kind of say, oh, maybe we could pull another one on. And it's kind of snowballed from there.
So it's been the demand first, and then you're getting the person to fill in?
That is how I started.
Yeah.
Now, I would say we're still in that, with the exception of when I open a new office.
Yeah.
It's been less of a demand first and okay, it's time to build.
Right. You have to establish yourself first.
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha. And how big is your staff now?
We will have 10 full-time employees by the end of June. Yeah.
In 6 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
So do you have kind of a pie in the sky goal set for yourself? Like, where do you want to go with it?
Well, being part of EO, you have to have, what do they call it? Big, hairy, audacious goal. Yeah. Right. I say my big pie in the sky goal is to have a performance lab within 15 miles of every country club in America. And not because
that is a big one.
It's a very big one, right?
Yeah.
And not because we only work with country clubbers, but I found a really niche market with golf. And we are all TPI certified, so we really have a focus and specialty on golf. And some of my newer therapists are now also focusing on that racket specialty and leaning into the racket sports. And
that's great.
I mean, pickleball is one of the fastest growing sports in the world, I think they said. Yeah. And so we're just getting such a high demand of an active population with golf and racket sports that our clientele tends to be within those areas. So
have you thought about how you would grow? Is it going to be a franchise model, or do you think it's going to be something different?
That's a great question that I'm not sure I know, if I'm being 100% honest.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm kind of just taking it one office at a time and seeing what opportunities happen and where my drive goes, where my the next kind of big idea comes from.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you and I think, joined EO right around the same time last year.
I think so, right?
Yeah. I think we were at the same first meeting and then ended up in the accelerator group together. Talk to me a little bit about how EO has helped you to grow your business.
I think it's been just great. You're around like-minded people who are driven and all want different business models completely, but all are looking for that same success and that same end game. We all have to have that big, hairy, audacious goal, and we're all trying to get there one step at a time. So the knowledge, the strategies, the people, I think it's been really, really great. Yeah,
for sure. I know one of the things that I was encouraged to do right off the bat was develop core values for the business.
Yeah.
I know you have done that as well. I mean, I think it's helped me in my personal life too, is just having this set of core values that I can lean upon and help me to guide myself in the decisions I'm making.
I think that's such a great point, because I had them for the business, but I never had them for me personally.
Yeah.
And somebody in EO actually said, you should definitely sit down with your family and create core values for your family. I was like, what a unique idea that I don't think most people would I would have never thought to do that. And after my husband and I sat down and kind of had a similar conversation of what do we look at, kind of helps drive our decisions too in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah, definitely. And I know it's such a balancing act with having a family and being a business owner or working in general, right?
Yeah.
You and I were talking before we got on the mics about the sports schedules. You have 3 kids. I have 2 kids. How do you find that to be with being a business owner, raising a family? What are, some of the challenges and solutions you've had?
It is still, I would say, every day, some days you wake up, you're like, this is awesome. And then other days you're like, I'm tired.
Right. Yeah.
I will say my husband is awesome. He cooks, he cleans, he does laundry. I can't remember the last time I've done laundry in my house. And I have 3 boys. So you can imagine the piles of laundry we have.
Yeah. Totally.
So I will say he's amazing. He's a teacher. So he has the school schedule. Although he's not in the same district as my children, he tends to have that ability to be home after school and home in the summers with them.
That helps.
So that has been helpful.
Yeah.
Mom guilt is real. I get it all the time. Mom, my band concert's at, 10 a.m. today, and then tomorrow's field day, and then this. I'm like, are you not chaperoning my field trip? No, buddy. I've been to 6 other things this week.
Yeah. You can't do everything.
You can't do everything. Yeah. So it's for me, it's just prioritizing and being okay, showing my kids that your mom is somebody who's out there trying to do something a little different. So I might not be able to be at everything, but I love you and I'm going to teach you great work ethic. Yeah. And then listen, a little wine goes a long way. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
For sure. You have to relax.
Yeah,
definitely. But I think it's important to have that communication with your kids too. When I got into the Medicare business, I joined an industry where I had a busy season. It's kind of like being an accountant. When you're selling Medicare, you have the annual enrollment period every year in October to December, which also happens to be my birthday, my wife's birthday, Halloween, Thanksgiving. Everything's happening. It's my favorite time of the year.
It's amazing, but so stressful at the same time. So
stressful, yeah. And so that time when I started in Medicare was really crazy with the kids because I had to miss out on things. I couldn't be at everything. I was working, nonstop because it's really like 7 weeks of just you put your head to the grind and you just go. Yeah. And what I did was I decided that even they were pretty young at the time because this is going back almost 10 years now. So it's 6 and 4. I took a bunch of, I think at the time I had rolled quarters. Mm-hmm. And I told them, so this is what's going to happen with Daddy the next few weeks. I have to put in a lot of work. And I showed them, I'm like, this is what I make throughout the year. And this is what I make in these next 7 weeks. And I tried to show them that like a lot of what I'm doing happens in just such a short period of time. Mm-hmm. So when you turn around and Dad's not there, there's a reason for it. And it doesn't mean that he doesn't want to be there, but it means that our family needs it right now.
I love that. I love that rolled quarters analogy too. They must have really appreciated it.
I think I used Legos one time. I used rolled quarters one time, but it did help me to feel better about the fact that I was going to miss out on some things during that time of year, but I wanted them to understand why. That
is golf season for me because we work on site at a lot of tournaments, and it is almost every weekend. And the reverse of it is they're home all day. My husband's home all day, so they think Mom is, gone. Right. And so the same thing. We just have to say, like, you guys, are lucky enough that you have summers off. This is Mommy's busy season, so yeah.
So these are golf tournaments where they're hiring your staff to be there to work on site.
We do, yeah. We go on site and we bring as much as we possibly can, from needling to a recovery station to the massage table. So we do soft tissue stretching, injury assessments. We have all of our recoveries. So the compression tools, the venoms is heat and vibration. Yeah. Most people have, low back, hip tightness, necks. That's the most common that we see on a golf course. Yeah. So to be able to fix that right then and there is really awesome.
Amazing, yeah.
And it helps drive some business our way as well.
I'm sure.
So, yeah.
So you have the 2 offices open now, right? West Hartford and Prospect?
Yes.
And then the new one is going to be? Simsbury. When is that up and running?
That's a great question. I wish I knew. No, they're working really hard. We're just waiting on some permits. So it was supposed to be middle of June, which I think is next week, maybe this week. I don't even know. I've lost track of dates. But I'm hoping by July 1st.
Okay. So is that when the busy season is too?
We are in the busy
You're
season.
in it now.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have started golf tournaments, and next week we've been asked to do the signature event for the travelers. So we're going to be
That's
there
amazing.
that Tuesday night for the pro-am part of it.
Fantastic.
So we've got a good amount lined up in the next 2 or 3 months.
That's awesome.
Like 10 or 11 tournaments.
The Travelers event is a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that one. I love them. I love golf season. It is so much fun. I love to be, who gets to say that their job is to sit outside in a beautiful golf course, hanging out. It's so relaxing.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
It meets so many fun people. They're in their happy place.
Yeah,
So it makes
for
them
sure.
happy. So
Yeah.
you don't get any crabby. Everyone's coming over.
That's true. It's a good day. You know, even a bad day of golf is a good day anywhere else.
It's a good day. And like we provide like the best of the, like they lay on our table and they're getting soft tissue and stretching. So after playing 18 to 27 holes in a tournament,
Right.
everyone jokes we're their favorite part of the day.
Of course. I can imagine that. That's great. I used to do a lot of golf tournaments with the nonprofit work that I did, and I hosted a couple myself, and they were always, a ton of work behind the scenes.
Ton of work behind the scenes.
Yeah, but a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great day.
So you have a lot going on, to say the least. How do you find time for yourself, and what are some of the strategies that you use for yourself to keep healthy and stay healthy?
I get up every morning around 6 a.m. and I go downstairs and work out before anybody else is up.
You do?
Yeah, I do. It's my time, and I have a Peloton in my basement, and I just go and I get not crazy long, anywhere between a half hour and 45 minutes. I try to do that most days per week. We have put a pool in a couple of years ago, so sometimes I just read by the pool. But my kids are out there, so I feel like I'm spending time with them. But I also am like, Mom, you want to throw me in? No, Mommy's reading.
Right, yeah.
I enjoy, I try to stay as active as I can. I'm very competitive. So for me, having fun is if I can go out and play pickleball, or I play softball. So in the summer, I'm in a softball league. We picked up skiing a couple of years ago. Yeah. Anything that can keep me active and I can feel like I'm competing against myself or someone else is mentally great for me.
Yeah, because then it doesn't feel like work. It feels like fun.
It feels like fun because I actually hate exercising. I know the physical therapist who hates exercising.
Well, yeah, that's good to hear though, because most of us hate exercising.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah, especially when you feel like it's a job. You know.
Yes, it's terrible.
You have to find ways to make it fun for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. Any fun, exciting summer plans for you?
Yeah, we're going to Cape May for a week. We rented a house. My brother has 2 girls, and they're the same ages as my 3 boys. Everyone gets along. So it's a great, fun time. So we're going to go down for a week. My parents are going to come for a little while, maybe my sister and her husband. So it'll be a nice family vacation. And then, like I said, golf season is crazy. So we tend to not do too much during the summer. Yeah. But we look forward we'll try to do like a ski trip in the winter.
That's great.
And so usually in the April break, we try to sneak away and do something because everyone's off, and that's more of like a preseason downtime for me.
Yeah. Yeah. That changes when they get older.
I know. And we just experienced that a little bit this year.
Yeah. When my son got to high school and he was playing baseball, we had a spring break planned, and the coach was like, "This is going to be the last year you do that." I'm like, yeah, okay.
You're like, okay.
I guess so.
Do you guys have anything good planned for the summer?
Yeah, we're doing a trip. We have to wait till baseball season's over because it's every weekend. We'll try to get down to Baltimore again. We just came back from Baltimore. We had a weird weekend of nothing that was in between high school and travel ball.
You almost don't know what to do with your time, right?
Yeah, so we got in the car.
Good
and we
for
went
you.
Down, we saw the Orioles, and we'll do that again in August, and then probably head out to like a larger trip and have fun before we get back to school and hockey season.
Yes, a little bit of downtime.
You need it.
Yeah, you do,
need
especially because your busy season's winter.
Yeah, so October to December, it gets crazy, and we expect it to be crazy this year.
Good for you. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. So anything else that you want to share about the business? Do you have any events or promotions coming up? And also, how can people find you?
I would say you could find us at performancelabct.com. Gives a lot of good information about who we are and what we do. Mm-hmm. So our big smiling faces on there. We do have social media. It's at performancelabct. I laugh because the girls, if they're listening, will laugh with me. I'm terrible at social media, but it's out there somewhere. Somebody else is doing it. And your people probably would have an easier time finding me than I do.
Understood.
Yeah. And so if you're interested, we also have both offices have amazing client coordinators who answer the phone. We text, we call. You don't speak to a robot, you speak to a person.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And if you're ever interested in more information and you just want to call, we can always set aside time with one of our therapists. They happily hop on the phone as well.
To do like an initial consultation?
Yeah, we don't necessarily do a consultation over the phone because I like to put my hands on you and I like to be able to see what's going on. But to give more information, and if you want to ask, like, can you help this? What do you do for X, Y, and Z?
Right.
A lot of times we can just hop on the phone quick and give you some more info, and then people can decide if it's right for them. Yeah.
Now, do people mostly find you when they have an issue and there's a problem? And should they maybe reach out to think more preventively?
You know what? I love that question because we tend to get people when they're injured and then keep them because they don't want it to happen again.
Right. That makes sense.
And we're really trying to get people before they go down. Just like you were asking me what I love to do, and you were saying the same thing. Exercise is way more fun when it's fun.
Yeah.
So everyone's got something they enjoy doing, whether it's golf or pickleball or baseball or a pickup league or basketball. And the younger population is really trying to stay active and get into colleges and work, they're being competitive on travel teams. Nothing breaks your spirit more than an injury and not being able to play, whether you're 40 and trying to stay 25 or you're 17 and you're really trying to get into that, trying to get to your dream of playing in college or whatever it might be, making all state, all conference. So we're trying to get the message out, just like you sit down with a financial advisor. You don't only sit down with a financial advisor when you're broke.
No, you shouldn't.
You got nothing.
Yeah.
You should. I mean,
Right.
You really shouldn't.
You should do it all the time.
You do it pretty consistently.
Yeah.
We say the same thing. Why not sit down with a physical therapist once every so often? Throw out your goals, your end game, and let us give you a plan. It doesn't always mean that you have to be in our office to do it.
Right.
If your goals are bigger picture, we might be able to say, hey, start here, and then these 5 things can help keep it going. If it starts to get aggravated, come back and see us.
That's great.
Yeah.
So it's not only a road back to your performance, it's enhancing your performance. It's protecting your performance.
Yeah. We say move better, feel better, perform better.
That's great.
And who doesn't want to do that?
I know I do.
No matter what, no matter what stage
does.
you are in your life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's never too late to start for people.
No, it really isn't. We get people a lot. They're like, oh, I'm never going to be flexible. I actually love, my favorite thing to do is to make bets because people can never touch their toes, especially gentlemen. Gentlemen have a hard time touching their toes. And I'm like, I have made people who could barely bend over to get to their knees touch their toes. And they're like, there is no way you can do it. So I always bet a bottle of tequila.
That's a great bet.
It's a great bet. I love it too.
A little bit of a reward.
Yeah.
And you win. I love it. That's great.
So, Dave, if you want me to get you to touch your toes,
all right, I'll bet
nice
you that.
bottle of tequila.
I can touch my toes already, though. We'll make it something a little more difficult.
All right, you got to make you work for it. I respect it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this has been really awesome. I appreciate you taking time out of the day to talk to us on Sounds of Health and to tell us more about everything that you guys are doing with the Performance Lab. Awesome to know that you're opening up a 3rd location.
Thank you.
And that people should go to your website, performancelabct.com.
That's it. Yeah.
And find you on Facebook. I know you're not there, but somebody from your staff
Find somebody
is.
on Facebook.
Yeah, and we are streaming live on Facebook, so you're actually doing more than you usually do. So if you are watching us on Facebook, share this out. Make sure you visit these guys. They're absolutely incredible. This staff of women who are helping people to feel better and to perform better and to prevent injury. All things that are just so important for us as we age and as we continue to try and do the things that we want to do in life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This has been really great.
Yeah, nice. A lot of fun.
I love this.
Yeah, and we'll come back at some point if you have time.
Of course.
Maybe bring one of your staff members on and we can do something like that.
Love that. A little trivia.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, perfect. We'll play with the format a bit.
Look at the competitive spirit just instantly came out at me. Bringing a staff member. Let's go.
Yeah. Hey, that's a great idea. All right, we'll put that on the docket as well. All right, well, thank you to everybody who's been watching us on Facebook, and please check the Performance Lab out. Becky, thank you so much. It's been great talking to you.
It's been great.
All right.
Awesome.
Take care. Sounds of Health is brought to you by Nutmeg Insurance Advisors and recorded at the offices of Nutmeg Advisory Group. The podcast is produced by Jason Carubia and Dave McNiven with music by Rob Hames. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. Your support means a lot to us, and we appreciate it when you like, subscribe, and leave a review. If you know someone who you think should be a guest on the show, please email us at soundsofhealthpodcast@gmail.com. Each week, we help you move the needle toward better health by spotlighting the stories, people, and resources that inspire and motivate others. And we are just getting started. Help us share these sounds, and don't keep us a secret.